Hello everybody, welcome back for another video. Hope you're all doing well and that you're all having a great day. We spoke about maybe about 2 weeks ago now about China, and I said I was quite confused as to why there was something that was going on where on their social media accounts that they're actually able to have inside the country, there were tons of people who were creating these things for people to be able to trade crypto back and forth, and it had not been stopped by the Chinese government. Lo and behold, that starts off the news that we have for today. Chinese regulators are moving to block more than 100 overseas crypto exchanges offering trading services to domestic investors. Shanghai Securities Times, a mouthpiece of the Chinese financial authorities, reported on Thursday that the Chinese National FinTech Risk Rectification Office has so far identified 124 platforms with overseas IP addresses that are still available in the country. The office now plans to step up its efforts in monitoring the space and block internet access to these trading platforms, the report said. Authorized in 2016 by China's State Council, the National FinTech Risk Rectification Office is the government agency that aims to protect against financial risk related to issues like peer-to-peer lending and cryptocurrency trading. In September 2017, the People's Bank of China notably announced a rule banning ICOs and, in effect, crypto trading platforms in the country. Following the notice, major exchanges based in China at the time moved their businesses overseas, and that happened almost immediately. Currently, internet access to several major exchanges such as Binance, OKEX, and Bitfinex appears to be unavailable in China. Today's report also said the agency will permanently shut down domestic websites and official accounts on the WeChat messaging app if they are found to be providing crypto trading and ICO services. The agency is also in talks with third-party payment vendors that are required to scrutinize and halt accounts that are suspended or handling cryptocurrency transactions, the report added. So any near hope or soon hope that we may have had about China re-allowing cryptocurrencies has kind of been squashed, at least for the time being. I'm not exactly sure what's going on in China. We've had news over the last couple of months that they are constantly having like blockchain conferences, and they also have agencies that are rating cryptocurrencies, and not just even like blockchain projects. They're rating like Ethereum and EOS and XRP and Bitcoin as if, first of all, I think these are government funded, or rather these wouldn't be allowed to happen at all within the country, especially if cryptocurrencies trading and I think ICOs and what's the other thing? Crypto exchanges as well, like in trading back and forth, is completely banned within the country. So the fact that that exists is still kind of weird, and the fact that they're still having all these blockchain media events where it's actually broadcast all throughout the entire country for everyone to see, and people are not promoted. What's the word? Told that they should watch it because it's something great for them. Not exactly sure what China is planning. The fact that they're trying to block every single bit of information, not only coming into the country through Google and everything else, so that they have control of what information the people in China see, but the fact that they're trying to also block every single type of access, because pretty much, I forgot the other thing that they have in the country, but WeChat is more or less it. The government knows exactly who is using WeChat, when they're using WeChat, what they say on WeChat, how they talk to other people on WeChat. Everything that happens on WeChat, the government knows. So I guess they figured out that people were trying to touch crypto in the country with that, and they have made sure to completely squash all of it. Still kind of weird. Let's see exactly where China is going to go with this. Next up on the country hop, Liechtenstein is in the news again. Liechtenstein Bank Union Bank AG announced it will be issuing its own security tokens and in-house cryptocurrency backed by fiat in a press release on Friday. I think that date is kind of weird unless we have gone back in time. Union Bank, which has concentrated increasingly on blockchain this year, said issuing its so-called Union Bank Payment Coin, or the uBPC, was a further step towards becoming a full-service blockchain investment bank. uBPC will act as a stablecoin, the institution explained, and will have fiat currencies such as the Swiss franc as its backing. They said our goal is to become the world's first blockchain investment bank and to provide tangible solutions which help drive efficiencies, reduce cost base, and open up new revenue opportunities for our customers and intermediaries alike. This was said by the chairman of the board of directors, Mohammed Hans Datsmashi, during a release. They said once again, as such, our fiat-backed Union Bank payment coin has the potential to disrupt the approach to international trade and international cross-border transactions. The news came the same week that major cryptocurrency exchange Binance launched a fiat-to-cryptocurrency exchange in the tiny European principality catering to Swiss francs and euros. Both Binance and Union Bank praised the jurisdiction's pro-blockchain stance, indicating a desire to see functionality increase in time. I thought it would take a while for us to see not bank-backed stable coins, but stable coins that are coming directly from banks. I don't know if there's much of a difference in that. We've seen a lot of the stable coins coming from major institutions and cryptocurrency exchanges as trying to find a way to stable coins pretty much come down to like a safe haven for when you're trying to, when the market's going down and you're trying to cash out without cashing out into crypto. You used to have another crypto that you can pass your money into. But this is just another step. The another bank in Liechtenstein, I'm not sure if it's the exact same one, noted a couple days ago that they're also going to offer crypto trading and stuff like that, and they're really big on ICOs. And I guess now we have another one, or maybe the exact same one, talking about their uBPC coin. This is now number 10 or 11 of the stable coins that have been launched or are scheduled to launch sometime in 2018, which potentially then means as a number of these are backed by major institutions, no one knows if the other ones that are coming out are frauds, as Tether was called a fraud, but apparently they have the money. This will then lead us to an instance where we're going to possibly have around next year, maybe like $50 billion worth of stable coins that people will then be able to cash out into, which could be very good for the market, especially if people are heavily trading, because what tends to happen is if you are using, if you're day trading back and forth and you see that there's a huge crash coming and you don't have a stable coin, you have to cash out into fiat. And when you cash it into fiat and the prices are going back up, you have to hope that the system is working well enough or that it has not been sent to your bank account or that they have some type of a fiat pairing on their website so you can just immediately buy back into the coin. But this is also a problem logistically. So this is why it seems that a lot of the institutions or now a bank are making their own stable coin. So when you're on their platform, you want to cash out without getting out of crypto, you can just cash out into another coin. It takes a couple of seconds as opposed to having to cash out all your money into euros or US dollars and then hoping to be able to buy back at a good price when the price should start going back up. Next country is Canada. The National Research Council of Canada, or the NRC, has launched a blockchain explorer built on Ethereum. According to a news release, the organization said that the Blockchain Explorer application, dubbed Katina, was developed by BitAccess and will be hosted by Industrial Research Assistance Program on the Interplanetary File System, or the IPFS. This makes the hosted data always accessible and immutable, as it's not organized in one location, which could subject it to site failure or access issues. According to BitAccess, the Explorer application is similar to a search engine and allows users to instantly search the Ethereum blockchain for published grants and contribution data stored on the network through Katina. Mo Adham, who is the co-founder of BitAccess, in a statement said, and I quote, "We built the Katina blockchain suite as a simple, low-risk application for institutions to get introduced to blockchain technology. So far, the reception has been terrific." So the news here isn't that whenever we have news like this, I make sure to at least touch on it a tiny bit. A lot of people before were not upset, but they were annoyed that I was discussing news like this and it had nothing to really do with money. But it kind of does. When you have, I told you or tried to explain a tiny bit of what makes a blockchain more valuable. And it's typically when people build websites, people build apps on top of your blockchain. This is why the Ethereum price, it's believed, has gone up because of the number of apps and applications and dApps and websites and things that are being built on top of it. But when you have world governments putting their information on top of a blockchain, especially one like Ethereum, this kind of ups the stakes because it's no longer just information about CryptoKitties or about some other type of game that's on Ethereum. It's now a government that's laying foundation potentially for ever, where they're putting their information on top of this blockchain, and they also then in some way kind of have a stake. You have to, if your government is putting their information on your blockchain, they also have a stake in it, in that they will want your project to continue to survive. I don't think it's random that they chose Ethereum. I'm pretty sure they were in talks for quite some time, especially when we had news before that Vitalik has been talking to world leaders, most notably, or the one that has been semi-confirmed, is that he was talking to the Russian president about them also putting government information on top of the Ethereum blockchain. So in essence, should the information be on there, you kind of then want to make sure also that Ethereum continues to live and survive. Because should it die, should the blockchain become destroyed or whatever the case might be, their information could also then be lost that they have on top of it, especially because we're moving to a more digital world where files and everything are being put onto computers or just digitized as opposed to actual paper, which could be a problem should the internet fall down or collapse. Doubt that's going to happen, but this is the news for today. I'm pretty sure we're gonna have more news as time goes on. Should Ethereum ever finally manage to scale, or whenever they finally do scale, I think we're gonna have a lot more countries who are going to be coming forward. For some reason, they're all. I think it's because Ethereum has been out for quite some time, so maybe it's more trusted, and maybe the blockchain is stronger than other blockchains that have started sometime this year. But there are definitely a lot of countries and companies who are not using Bitcoin's blockchain, but they're using Ethereum, I guess, in hopes or anticipation of the actual scaling solution coming forth, so that they can continue. I don't know, continue to build on it. You guys get what I'm saying. I don't really have to elaborate any more on that. Next up, Ethereum is once again in the news. Vitalik Buterin, who is the co-founder of Ethereum, has recently opened a GitHub issue to propose an idea to change the existing highest fee auction model for transaction inclusion to a fixed fee model. After posting about it several online forums, and most recently discussing it at the Crypto 2018 event, the Zcash community welcomed his idea and suggested he starts a discussion on the same. Vitalik explains that the current public blockchain systems, which also includes Ethereum and Zcash, adopt a particular block size limit and a fee market to regulate the inclusion of transactions. This is done in order to prevent users from spamming the blockchain, he says. However, this technique forces transaction senders to pay for the costs they impose on the network. Buterin argues that cap auction method is the only method that can be used to resolve the above-mentioned issue. He also believes that other methods can prove to be more beneficiary and are worth looking into. He proposes 3 issues with the existing model: mismatch between the volatility of transactions, inefficiencies of price auctions, and instability of blockchains with no block reward. Buterin goes on to explain that his idea will eliminate all the 3 issues at hand. The proposal is to eliminate the current fee calculations that cause volatility and brings in place a protocol that determines a fixed fee, combining it with a formula that allows incorporation of real-time capacity. A lot of blockchains that are launching right now are saying that they have a model where they have no transaction fee, in that pretty much you can send as many transactions as you want throughout the network. There's no fee. A lot of people have been saying, how do you then stop people from spamming your network? Because even with things like Bitcoin, last summer, this was also a major problem, and Ethereum has also had kind of the same exact issues. Not even just with CryptoKitties or anything else that's been built on Bitcoin or Ethereum or any other blockchain, is that if you have, there are people who are spamming these networks on purpose because they don't want them to survive. So if you can find a way to, let's say the normal transaction fee comes out to around 2 or 3 cents, for however much you are sending. If you find a way to set up your computer or to set up a bot to send 50,000 transactions through a network, and each transaction is for only 1 cent, and the transaction fee then is around 2 or 3 cents, and it adjusts depends on how many other transactions are flowing through the network, i.e. if the more that are being sent through, the more that miners then have to kind of process with their computers, and therefore if you are paying a higher fee, you get higher priority as the transactions are being sent through the network. So if you are spamming a network and other normal people are trying to send their money through it, this is kind of the argument for a lot of other coins have said that they have found the solution. But one of the problem is you can solve this by charging a fee. But when your fee goes higher, then you eventually have a moment where other people who have really strong computers can spam your network, and then your transaction fees go up to $6, $15, $20, and then other people say, why would I want to use that model when there's the other free model? So I assume they're going to, Ethereum has a lot to work with, but I just kind of feel like there's always something new every single day. Not that Ethereum is at fault. I think the technology is just still very, very new. None of this is even 15 years old. There's not one blockchain that's 15 years old. There's not one blockchain that's 10 years old, if you can And I know that sounded kind of crazy to even think about. So I guess this will all take time to kind of work out. I assume in 20 years, we won't have any of these problems at all. But there always seems to be something new. I think we're trying to, or they are trying to, the coders and developers, trying to figure out every single thing that they can iron out or fix. Because a lot of these problems kind of stem from the traditional exchanges or markets that we have right now, as far as like the stock markets. They have a lot of these issues, not so much as like spamming their network with transactions, but as far as fees, and we're trying to get to a fee-less cryptocurrency world where we can pretty much just do atomic swaps on blockchains between different coins and have that also be completely free, so that we no longer need cryptocurrency exchanges and that everything is kind of in the palm of our hands or on our phone, however you kind of want to say it. But this is Vitalik's been in the news a lot recently. I don't know if it is him just passionately talking about the project now once again, or if it's kind of like trying to let everyone know that he's trying to make sure that the project is not stable, but that they're still working on a lot of other bugs and stuff like that. But then once again, like I said before, we have a lot of other coins and projects who are claiming that everything that type of growing pain that Ethereum is having right now, that their coin has already fixed it. This, however, is still yet to be seen. Next up, the head of Japan's financial regulator. The Financial Services Agency, or the FSA, has confirmed there was no intention to introduce excessive controls on the country's cryptocurrency industry. Speaking to Reuters in private comments on the 22nd of August, Toshihide Endo said that despite strict management of Japan's cryptocurrency exchanges, a crackdown in the form of fresh restrictions was not on the cards. They said, "We have no intention to curb the cryptocurrency industry excessively. We would like to see it grow under appropriate regulation." Japan was the first country to adopt formal regulatory measures for cryptocurrency entities, a move which has already seen a major test after domestic exchange CoinCheck lost over $500 million in a hack last January. Since then, the FSA has monitored all exchanges operating in Japan extremely closely, issuing immediate improvement orders to some, while others have shuddered under the pressure. At the same time, a licensing scheme continues to run, with the FSA this month rumored to be the reopening applications after the post-CoinCheck upheaval. I think we had news that they had, what was it? It was like 12 exchanges that they were trying to, pretty much any exchange that they had before, they had to go through another exchange process, a couple of them that we had before that they had in Japan and not in Japan. They ended up shutting them down, which is really kind of sad because I guess they didn't make the cut. But Japan has become more strict after the hack, which I was hoping. I mean, everyone is always trying to hack something. Everyone's always trying to destroy some type of project. So it was bound to happen at some point. I know that's sad to say, but Japan took it a lot farther than other places. I think them in South Korea, not that they had raids, but they were kind of like barging into these exchanges, asking for paperwork, asking for other things that they had, like everything that they had on the books, to make sure that it wasn't the exchange who had hacked themselves, as weird as that might sound, and other type of things like that. But this is good news that they have no intention to excessively regulate. We've had a couple of other countries in the last couple of weeks. They're smaller countries. They don't have larger economies, I'll put it that way, who have announced, it's like 2 or 3 of them, that they were actually banning cryptocurrencies. It wasn't even really newsworthy. Not only did the markets not react, it wasn't even really necessary to put in the news because they are, how do I say this, some of the most corrupt countries in the world. So the fact that they were banning crypto is not even really news. They've already banned everything else in their country. But this is good news, more or less. I think Japan is going to have a stricter stance than most other countries, simply because I don't think they want to be embarrassed from being the first out there to kind of do all these things, and you can't be the first and then get things wrong because other people will kind of look down on you. I don't think that really makes a lot of sense. That's just kind of how I feel about it. Last up, you may have noticed Bitcoin's price is down a tiny bit, and this is because the hopes of Bitcoin bulls are dust. I wouldn't say dust once again, as the Securities and Exchange Commission, or the SEC, disapproved 9 more Bitcoin ETF applications. The new U.S. regulator rejected 2 ETFs by ProShares that would track Bitcoin futures contracts, 5 inversed and leveraged ETFs from Direction, and another one from Granite Shares, or Granite Shares, depending on how you want to say it, and continued to hold its stance against the potential fraud and manipulation of Bitcoin markets, citing that the applicants have not met SEC's requirements of designing rules to prevent these malpractices. The SEC judgment further mentioned that they had not received any evidence that could prove the significant size of the Bitcoin futures market, and was quoted in the ETF application. It read, "Surveillance sharing with a regulated market of significant size related to Bitcoin is necessary to satisfy the statutory requirement that the exchange's rules be designed to prevent fraudulent and manipulative acts and practices." The SEC also declared that it did not evaluate the technological and investment potential of Bitcoin and blockchain technology before taking its decision, which is kind of stupid. The outcome solely rested on the applicant's failure to abide by the individual sections of the Exchange Act. The agency also cited a quote from the letter it received by the CBOE, the U.S. Exchange. Not going to read through their quote. No matter what happens, the fact that they rejected 9 at the exact same time just kind of goes to show how ridiculous this all is. Their arguments are always that something is missing from the application. 4 years of rejections is just kind of insane. I hope that as the day goes on and everyone is waking up around the world, that the market doesn't continue to slide down. We know or knew that these were going to be rejected. We spoke about this 3 days ago. There was a hope and a glimmer in some people's eyes. There was the fact that this wasn't even spoken about heavily by any other website or mainstream places kind of said exactly what was going to happen. But the fact that the CBOE one is the one that's being spoken about, the one that's slated for the 30th of September, that kind of gives us a glimmer of hope. At this point, we have people in the industry who are saying that 2019 is when one will be accepted. We also have people saying at the end of 2018, that's when they will be accepted. No one knows for sure. The SEC at this point is just playing games. It's actually kind of sad because it shows how far corruption can go when they keep stating that something is missing from the application, and then the next person puts in what was missing, and they keep saying this over and over. So when you deny 9 at the exact same time, that I'm sure were scrutinized by lawyers and possibly by other people who were even associated with the SEC, because when you file these things, you don't write them down on a piece of paper with a smiley face at the end of it and kind of hand it in and hope that it works. This was looked over by lawyers for, I'm sure, a couple of months, trying to make sure that everything would work and that it could not be scrutinized, as everything was already in there. But lo and behold, they found reasons once again to deny them. So this, I think, is leading us now to the next big one, is the 30th of September. If that isn't accepted, I don't know what more can be done. Anyway, that is going to do it for the news today. I hope you all enjoyed. Hope you guys are having a great day, morning, afternoon, and or evening, wherever you are, wherever you might be. Thank you once again for watching and or listening, and I will talk to you all soon. See you.